Yo, welcome to the channel. In this video today, we're going over the Magicka Warden for Waking Flame patch. So, let's go ahead and dive into it. Maximum Magicka is 32.7k. Maximum health is 18.6. Magic recovery unbuffed is 1.4. Spell damage unbuffed is 3.6. Spell critical is 64%. Now, I'm a high elf, so one of the better races for DPS in general. The top three would be high elf, Khajiit, and dark elf. Khajiit probably being a little bit better than high elf overall. But those are the top three in DPS. If you're having trouble sustaining your setup or just having trouble sustaining in general, then you might want to look at a Briton. Britons are really good for sustain. Now, 64 points into Magicka. The boon I'm running is the Theif, and the food I'm using is Ghastly Eye Bowl. Now, honestly, you really don't need any of the other foods. Witch Mothers will give you a little bit of more HP, but at the same time, your max Magicka will drop to around 30k. Solitude, your HP will go up to about 24k, and your max Magicka will go up to like 36k, or 35, 36k, somewhere around in there. But your recovery drops to 800, 1100 after you pop a pot. But with this, all we gotta do is hit our bayonet twice before we start a fight, and our HP goes up to 20, pretty much almost to 20.5k. It's like 20.4 and something. So we really do not need, see, it goes up to 20.474. So we really do not need that extra health from Witch Mothers or anything like that. Now, if you just want to have like 24, 25, 26, 27k HP, go for it. But it's really not needed. So, champion points. When it comes to the green tree, passive-wise, Gilded Fingers, Fortune Favor are really good just to increase the gold that you can get from items. Steadfast Enchantment is one that I would highly recommend, like these three. I would definitely get. Makes your weapon enchants decay at a 50% rate, 50% slower, so that's always nice. If you travel by Way Shrine a lot and spend your gold to do it, you might want to invest into Wanderer, but outside of that, you really don't need to. Just put the 15 here to go up. I always keep Treasure Hunter on my bar just to increase the quality of items I find in treasure chests. And then I use Liquid Efficiency because it gives me a 10% chance to not consume the potion or poison that I use. And that is always nice, especially in this setup. Now, I also have Master Gatherer and Plentiful Harvest on my main 4 bar up there. But that's because while I'm waiting on dungeon queues or just going around doing stuff, I tend to pick up everything. And what this does, it cuts my research or my harvest time by 50%, and it gives me a 50% chance to get double resources from the node. So that's why I tend to keep these on my bar. But if you don't really care about this, then Rationer is really good to have. It'll add like an extra 30 minutes to your food or drink. And then Stead's Blessing, which will increase your out of combat movement speed. So those two would be the ones that I would replace the Gatherer ones with. Now, in the red tree, ones I keep on my bar, Boundless Vitality gives me an extra 1400 max health. Fortified gives me an extra 1700 armor. Rejuvenation gives me 90 health, magic, and stamina recovery. And then Siphoning Spells gives me an extra 1500 Magicka when I kill an enemy. So I've got to be the one to land the killing blow, but it's still nice to have for that little extra sustain. Now, passive-wise, Hero's Vigor gives me an extra 560 max health. And Tempered Soul here. Basically, when you get caught sleeping and you get one-shot or you get killed, and you get resurrected, this is going to give you 10% of your resources back. So you're going to have a chance to be able to get a heal off, or you're going to have a chance to do something instead of just coming up and having to heavy attack a couple times to get your resources back. And then you have Defiance, reduces the cost of break free. Tumbling reduces the cost of roll dodge. Sprinter reduces the cost of sprint. Wind Chaser, or not Wind Chaser, my bad. Hasty, which increases your movement speed by 4%. Tireless Guardian reduces the cost of block. Fortification increases the amount of damage you can block. And Savage Defense reduces the cost of bash. And then finally, Nimble Protector basically allows you to move 6% faster while you are blocking or bracing. So, Now, in the blue tree, passives, Eldritch Insight, Precision, Piercing, Flawless Ritual, War Mage. That's it. Now, the ones I tend to keep on my bar for the most part, Fighting Finesse, Deadly Aim, Thaumaturge, and Biting Aura. But now, when it comes to these three up here, you can replace one of these. You can either do Thaumaturge, Deadly Aim, Biting Aura. Honestly, it's not going to make that huge of a difference. When you know for a fact you can stay behind the boss or the target, whatever it is that you're after, and you replace one of them with BackStabber. Because this is going to give you an extra 15% crit damage, so, or critical damage done, so you want to have this. And you can honestly replace any of these for this. It really doesn't matter. Me personally, I tend to get rid of Thaumaturge, because the only dot that I have is Swarm, which is a nice strong dot. So, but again, it's the only dot that I have. So I tend to just get rid of that. Because to be dead honest with you, I don't know if Wall of Elements and Winter's Revenge counts as a dot. I think they're more of an area effect attack and not so much of a dot. So I have one dot, but I have 3 area effect attacks. So I tend to just go with that. I do have one single target, but that is my main spammable plus my bear attack, or my ultimate attack. So I tend to keep those. I tend to keep my single target. So I would replace Thaumaturge with BackStabber. That's just me. That's what I do. So, sets. First set, Medusa. Medusa is awesome. I run it on all of my Magic tunes this fashion. I've been running it just because it frees up that back bar slot. Means I don't have to worry about setting down Barbed Trap. Doesn't mean I have to run Channeled Acceleration. I can put on a self-heal, I can put on a shield, or I could just put on another DPS ability. I just like Medusa. It's absolutely wonderful. I run an Inferno Precise. On this setup, we are using double dot poisons. It is just crown lethal poisons. I have a ton of them. You can get them. You get them from your daily rewards. You can get them from crown crates, or you can craft these. Doesn't really matter. They're all about the same. The DPS wise, the crafted, and I can't remember if it's the crafted or the crown lethal poisons, but one's just slightly better than the other. I can't remember off the top of my head which one it is, but it's not that big of a deal. Medusa is a heavy set from Arx Cranium, so you're going to have to run the Inferno Staff and Jewelry. I run 2 Bloodthirsty, 1 Infused. It does not have to be golded out. Mine is gold because the rings were in the golden vendor a few weeks back, and I just bought a ton of the rings because I know I'm going to use it on all my Magic characters. I think I ended up buying like 5 or 6 sets. So yeah, that's just me personally. And then the necklace is Infused Spell Damage. You can absolutely go 3 Bloodthirsty if you wanted to. So what this does, it gives us a ton of spell crit, and the 5-piece just gives us minor force at all times, increasing your critical damage by 10%. Now this is only going to be, that 5-piece is only going to be active when we're on our front bar, but it is not that big of a deal. We're not on our back bar long enough for it to really matter for that drop off. So, now, monster set, I want to go over the monster set for the second 5-piece set, because I want to explain my reasoning, or why I use that second 5-piece set. Zons. This comes from Skullcaller and is probably the strongest single target set, monster set, for Magic users. I run medium shoulders, medium helmet, divines with max magicka, and basically it gives us spell crit, and when we damage a nearby enemy with a light or heavy attack, you have a 33% chance to create a beam of fire that will connect you to your enemy as long as you remain within 8 meters of them. The beam deals 1.6k flame damage every 1 second to your enemy for 6 seconds. Every second the damage increases by 100%. This effect can occur once every 18 seconds. This scales off the higher of your weapon or spell damage. Now, if you are having trouble getting through Skullcaller, I understand Skullcaller is a pain to get through. And if you're just having trouble getting in there and getting this done, I feel you. So there are other sets that you can run. Now, base game sets, not non-DLC, you have Valken Scoria. Valken Scoria is a really good set. Plus it's going to give us that extra pin, and we are kind of low on pin because we are running 2 medium. But when we deal damage with a damage over time effect, you have an 8% chance to summon a meteor that deals 7k flame damage to the target and 2,177 flame damage to all other enemies within 5 meters. Effect can occur once every 5 seconds. This goes off the higher of your weapon or spell damage. Now, you also have that City of Ash 2. City of Ash 2 is kind of a pain as well. It's not necessarily hard, but it can be long, so finding a group for that can kind of be a nuisance. So, but Elaborates is from Crypto Hearts 1, and very easy to get into, very easy to do. It gives you max Magicka, and when you deal flame or shock damage, you have a 33% chance to summon a meteor shower that deals 765 flame damage. We don't really do anything that does shock damage, so that will never proc. To all the enemies within 4 meters every 1 second for 5 seconds. The effect can occur once every 8 seconds. So, this is a really nice beginner set to get. And so is, let's see, just thinking off the top of my head, Maw of the Infernal is another really good set to get too. So, honestly, Groftar is nice, but we are not that close due to our spammable. We don't stand close enough to really get this effect, because you got to be within 8 meters, and we're just not that close. So yeah, Maw of the Infernal I would go with, or I would either go with Maw of the Infernal or Valken Scoria if you don't have Scalecaller, if you don't have Zons. So, but Maw of the Infernal, like I said, comes from Banished Cells 2. Gives you max Magicka. When you deal damage with a light or heavy attack, you have a 33% chance to summon a fire-breathing Daedroth for 15 seconds. Daedroth attacks deal 2.9k flame damage and alternates between Fiery Breath, Fiery Jaws, and Fiery Claws, which alternate once every 2 seconds. The Daedroth can only be summoned once every 15 seconds, and its damage scales off the higher of your weapon or spell damage. So yeah, DLC sets, if you just want to look through them, honestly, I would just go with Zons. I can't think of any other really set that would matter outside of, like, you could potentially run Nightmare. Damaging enemy with a light attack puts a bone stack on them for 5 seconds, up to one every 0.5 seconds. If 5 stacks on a dodgeable skeleton hand attacks your enemy after 1 second, knocking them in the air and stunning them for 3 seconds, or dealing 12.5k magic damage. I mean, you can go with something like that if you want, or you can just go with pure damage and go with, no, it's Moongrain. No? March of Sacrifice, yeah. And go with Belrogs, which will give you some weapon damage and spell damage. And then when you use an ultimate, because we do get ultimate back so quick, you will gain weapon and spell damage equal to the amount of total ultimate consumed, and physical and spell penetration equals 23 times the amount for 12 seconds. So effectively, we're going to use our ultimate around 70 to 80 most of the time. So we're only going to get like 70 or 80 spell damage, but we are going to get a handful of penetration, so that is nice too. Honestly, I would just get Valken Scoria over that. That's just me. So, monster sets. Zon's the best one, Skullcaller Peak. Valken Scoria, City of Ash 2. Maw of the Infernal, Banished Cells 2. Or, that'd be my 3 sets. Starting out though, if you can't get to any of those starting out, I would just go into Crypto Hearts 1 and just grab Elaborates, if anything, just for a monster set. So, if you just want one. If not, then you can always, if you don't want to run a monster set, you can always just run 2 sets that just give you spell crit, or just give you crit. Because you can go with Slime Crawl too. You can go 1 piece Slime Crawl, 1 piece Zons, 1 piece Crags, because this will give you, no, it gives you physical. Thought they changed that to be just offensive penetration. My bad. So yeah, so you can go with like 1 piece Max Magicka or something like that. 1 piece Scoria. Doesn't really matter. It's up to you. So, now, for the 5-piece set, Moon Hunter. Running it all in the body, all divines. This comes from Moon Hunter Keep. And what this does, it gives us spell damage, spell crit, and when your alchemy poison fires, increase your spell damage by 528 for 8 seconds. This is nice. You absolutely get the most spell damage from this set for a magic user. That is not trial set wise. So, what this does, that's why we run poisons. So when this fires, when our poisons here will fire off of a light attack or ability or whatever, I keep backing up, it will proc Moonhunter, and it will fire for 8 seconds, and we will have this. When this is fully buffed, I really hope, when we are fully buffed with everything, I really hope this wants to cooperate. Sometimes it cooperates, sometimes it does not. Come on, let's go. Let's go. Come on, I need my poison to proc. There we go. Alright, so with everything procced, we're sitting at 5.5k spell damage by ourselves. So you take into consideration minor courage, take into consideration the Allurium or spell power cure proc. We get up anywhere between 7.5 to 8k. I've seen in trials, I've seen in pugs, I've seen in dungeons, because I've been in some dungeons where the tanks are running Yolnikins with powerful assault, healer running Orlarium. So we get that spell down. Our spell damage will get extremely high, and because of that, Zons also hits extremely hard. And we hit extremely hard. It's crazy. It's absolutely crazy. I'm enjoying the set. I really love Moonhunter robe. Now I will say, when it comes to variations to this set, this comes from Moonhunter. I don't know how you can run other sets other than this. You can run Burning Spellweave, which comes from City of Ashwan. You can run Scathing Mage, which comes from Imperial City. But personally, I really like Moonhunter. I think this is a set that doesn't get enough love. But it gives you a ton of spell damage, gives you a ton of stuff, and a lot of people do tend to still use poisons. I think it's a set that pairs really well with this, and I think it should just get some love. So I wanted to showcase it and show what I can do with it. So now when it comes to DPS wise, with this setup, 36.8k. It's not bad. No trials, just running the same setup, same bar setup, using trash pots. Pull decent numbers. Pull really good numbers. Pulled that on a 3 mil. So, self buff. No trial dummy with all those buffs from everybody else. It was just self buff. Skills that I used. The exact bar setup, everything. Screaming Cliff Racer. Command a Cliff Racer to dive bomb an enemy, dealing 9.9k magic damage. If you are more than 7 meters away from the target, you set them off balance for 7 seconds and deals up to 15% more damage based on how far away the enemy is. So, I usually stand right here. Probably would have been better. Probably could have pulled more if I would have moved the target like about right here to the edge of the bridge. But I was about right here. So, just me. I also kind of find this a little clunky to use. Like, it really is a little clunky for me. I don't know. It's just one of those abilities. Kind of like the Nightblade's Swallow Soul. It's just one of those abilities for me. But if it does that for you too, other spammables that are really good to use, Crushing Shock. By all means, you can use this. It's a nice little one to have anyways. And then Elemental Weapon is another one, is another good spammable to use as well. So, Deep Fissure. Stir a group of shock that attack after 3 seconds, dealing 13.9k magic damage to enemies in front of you, and enemies' damage are inflicted with major breach, reducing their physical and spell resistance by 5.9 for 6 seconds. Fetcher Infection. Unleash a swarm of Fetcher flies to relentlessly attack an enemy, dealing 7.7k magic damage over 10 seconds. Every second cast of this ability deals 50% increased damage. The Fetcher flies rip through the enemy's flesh, afflicting them with minor vulnerability for the duration, increasing their damage taken by 5%. And then this one, Bird of Prey. It's really just here for while slotted, you gain minor berserk, increasing your damage done by 5%. That's it. This is definitely, you can use this as a flex spot, but I would kind of leave this here and use it that when it's on my back bar as a flex spot. But yeah, Inner Light. While slotted, your max magic is increased by 5%, and you gain major prophecy, increasing your spell critical rating by 2.6. Eternal Guardian. Rouse a Grizzly to fight by your side. This Grizzly swipes an enemy, dealing 3.4k magic damage, and sometimes swipes all enemies in front of it, dealing 12.7k magic damage, and stunning them for 2 seconds. When summoned, you can activate Guardian's Wrath for 75 ultimate, causing the Grizzly to maul an enemy for 15.5 magic damage, deals 100% more damage to enemies below 25% health. The Grizzly respawns when killed once per minute. These 3 abilities are all double barred. If you do not have your Grizzly double barred, it will fall off when you bar swap, just like a Sorcerer's Pet. And these are just here. And then we have Blockade of Fire. Lasts for 11 seconds. Slide your staff down to create a flaming barrier in front of you, dealing 1.3k flame damage to enemies in the target area every 1 second. Burning enemies take 20% more damage from this ability. Winter's Revenge. Conjure icy shards at the target location to skewer enemies in the area, dealing 2.6k frost damage every 1 second for 12 seconds. Enemies hit are overcome with bitter cold, reducing their movement speed by 30% for 3 seconds. The ability has a higher chance to apply the chill status effect. Blue Betty. Call a Betty niche to your side, which restores 4.9k magicka to you over 25 seconds, and grants you major brutality and sorcerer, increase your weapon and spell damage by 20%. Every 5 seconds, the niche removes 1 negative effect from you. And then we have our abilities double barred here. Now, on the back bar, I would recommend leaving Inner Light because our magicka is at like 32%, so it is relatively low. So I like to have this double barred. You can, if you need a shield for something, or if you need a heal, you can take out Birds of Prey and put like Polar Wind, or put Harness Magicka on your bar if you need the shield. I didn't really find myself needing the shield in most of the stuff I was doing, but I did need a heal, so I have Polar Wind here. So, but yeah, that's pretty much the bar. When you DPS test on a 3 mil, as a magic user, normally you would use something like Elemental Susceptibility. If you have trouble handling an extra ability in your slot, go Ellie Drain. Like, if you can handle that, go Ellie Drain. You have to recast Ellie Drain like every 20 seconds. So if you're okay with being able to do that every 20 seconds, use it. But Elemental Susceptibility is not really that big of a deal because this does apply Major Breach, which lowers the resistances on a 3 mil dummy. But our Shulk also does that. So as long as we keep the Shulk, which you should be using this, every 2 abilities, you should have Major Breach on the enemy at all times. But just in case, just hit them with this. All you gotta do is put it on your bar once before it even starts. Hit them with it. Then as you can see, it will stay on the bar no matter what. And then it will not go off until you hit them. See, it's there. It's going to stay there for a few. It will not go away. And then once you smack them, we go out of combat. It's there. There's no timer on it. It's staying. There's no countdown. It will stay there as long as we hit it and as long as we stay in combat. And now that we are out of combat, it goes away. So that's pretty much it. So, rotation wise, I buff up with my Betty Niche. I use it twice. I hit, like I said, stand back here. Shulk, Winter's Revenge, light attack, wall, light attack. Rotate, Shulk, light attack. Cliff Racer, Cliff Racer. Oh, wait, hold on. I messed up. I was going slow trying to explain it, and I messed up. My mistake. Okay. Take 2. Alright, so you buff up with Betty Niche. You pop your pot. Let me go over this. Make sure I'm doing everything right. Pop pot. You hit your Shulk. Winter's Revenge. Light attack. Wall of Elements. Bar swap. Light attack. Swarm. Shulk. Cliff Racer. Light attack. Cliff Racer. And then you're going to hit Shulk. Wall. Winter's Revenge. And then repeat. Just like that. Like, normally on the second rotation, though, when you come back around, you'll do your Wall of Elements, you'll do your Winter's Revenge, and then you'll do the Shulk, you'll hit Swarm, you'll do Cliff Racer, Swarm, and then you'll be able to fire off 2 more Cliff Racers. And then Shulk, Wall of Elements, Unstable, Betty Niche. And then Shulk, Swarm, Cliff, Shulk, Screaming, Screaming. And then this entire time, of course, you're going to have your bear up. Don't forget to pop your pots to make sure everything stays up and stays going. And it's just very simple. Shulk is one of the main things you just got to make sure that you keep up. And you're just going to, I'm out of Magicka, so you're just going to make sure that you keep your dots down, keep your betting edge up, and it's a very simple rotation. Just work on getting it down, and then work on speeding it up after. That's really all there is to it. It's very slow. Take it slow. Just betting edge, pop your pot, hit your Shulk, wall, light attack, Winter's Revenge, light attack, rotate. You're going to Shulk again, light attack, swarm, light attack, cliff, light attack, swarm, and then light attack, cliff, light attack, cliff. And then you will Shulk and then repeat the process. Very simple. Use your bear ultimate when you have it. Like, use it to replace one of the Screaming Cliff Racers. And honestly, if you have trouble sustaining, so about the second rotation, so you've wall, you've Shulked, you've done your swarm, Cliff Racer, then swarm, Cliff Racer, Cliff Racer. If you're having trouble sustaining, as you come back around, so you'll do your wall, your Winter's Revenge, your Shulk, and then you'll hit your swarm and your Cliff Racer, then your Shulk. Again, you can heavy attack. Take that little time to heavy attack, and as you can see, your Shulk should come up right as your heavy attack is going off, or right a little after, and then you can just Shulk and repeat the process, repeat the rotation, if you have trouble sustaining. Like if you need that little extra oomph in your Magicka. So, but yeah, that's pretty much it. I'm absolutely loving it, and as you can see, 36k, 36.8. I'm pretty sure with more practice and maybe not having a couple bar lag, little lag every now and then, could definitely probably hit 38k. So, but yeah, let me know what you're thinking of this patch. Let me know what you're having fun. Let me know what you're using. So until next time, take care.